Hello friends, in today's class we are going to talk about another important set which is the foundation of top-down and bottom-up parsing called follow set. Welcome again, and the next topic we are discussing is the follow set. So let me read out this definition of the follow set. Follow set A for non-terminal A is the set of terminals. Okay, so the another term here is the set of terminals that can appear immediately to the right of A in some sentential form. Okay, so the sentential form is nothing but the what was the sentential form definition was the intermediate representation of derivation. So some sentential form it can appear, that is the set of terminals A such that there exists a derivation of the form S derive S alpha and then A. So see that after capital A the symbol is coming here. After capital A the symbol here is, you can identify that this is A. And if it is the situation, then S derive alpha, capital A, small a and beta for some alpha and beta. So after A there must be there is a symbol and that can appear in some sentential form, and we want them to put in a set, and that is called the follow set. Okay, so we have already covered the first set and now we are talking about the follow set. Okay, so now the next is the rules. Okay, so let's start with the rules. That rule number 1. Now rule number 1 is the trivial rule, and it says that the follow set of the start symbol. Okay, now let me just write it down, this rule, that the follow set of start symbol is $. So this is the trivial rule, and by default include that symbol. Okay, so if anything that is, suppose this is S derive A and B and A derive A and B derive B. Okay, and the simple question is, what is follow of S? Okay, so what is follow of S? So just do not confuse with this. S is the start symbol and will include $. Is it the only symbol? No, that will not be the only symbol. We have to look at the grammar. So that is rule number 1, and now let's come down to this rule number 2. That rule 2. Okay, now before I explain the rule 2, let me just write a grammar where this situation will be applied. So suppose S derive capital A and suppose B, and A derives small c, B derives, let's say, B. Now I want to compute again here a follow of capital A. Okay, follow of capital A. The first thing you understand that whenever I search follow of A, there is no ordering. I have to search capital A on right hand side of the production rule. Okay, right hand side of production rule. So now this you have to do, and wherever there can be 1 case, 2 case, 3 case, as many as cases are present. Like here for this, if I say follow of capital A, then follow of capital A is here, the A is present. So that is the case that we had rule 2 we are talking about. Okay, so we have to search on the right hand side of the production rule, and the rule 2 says that if a non-terminal followed by a terminal. Okay, so that is the case we are looking for, if a non-terminal followed by a terminal. Okay, so now here we'll just write this, if it is the case applicable, wherever follow of capital A and there is a terminal symbol, so I'll include that terminal over here. Okay, so that is the rule number 2. Let's come down to rule 3. So first is a trivial rule, that is your for this dollar thing, and second is wherever non-term followed by terminal, then just include that terminal. Rule 3 can be what? Rule 3 can be S derive A, B, C, and let's have A derive A, B derives B, and C derive small c. Okay, and again I want to compute here the follow of capital A. Follow of capital A. Okay, so follow of capital A, what is coming after A? So now there is a B, but B is not a terminal, it's a non-terminal. So follow of capital A should be computed from whatever B will derive, and I can write follow of capital A is equal to, what should I write? First of capital B. Okay, so now there is a dependency, first of capital B, provided what? First of B does not contain epsilon, right? So here we don't have epsilon in first of B, only B symbol is there. So this statement seems to be true. And what I will write here is I'll write here B. So that is your rule number 3, that says that first of A is equal to, for follow of A is equal to first of B. Okay, now let's extend rule 3 and call it as rule 4. Okay, so let's have an extension of rule 3. Okay, so rule 3 and call it as rule 4. So let's call it as rule 4. And what is the extension here? S derive A, B, C, and A derive small a, and B derive, now what is the extension? B or epsilon, and C derive only C. Now again I want to compute here first of capital A, and first of capital A is equal to we want to compute follow of capital A. What is follow of capital A? Follow of capital A is your first of B, but now B contain epsilon. So what I will do, follow of A is equal to, I will put here B, and I'm making a statement over here, since first of capital B contains epsilon, go to the next symbol and repeat the process, Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll go to the next symbol, that is your C, because if I put here epsilon, then it will become what? As derived, it will become AC. So I have to consider this case, and C, what is here is C. So I'll say C and repeat the process. So we have to include, what we have to include? Include first of capital C. Now we are coming to the last rule here, and rule 4 is one of the most like here you have to understand it very clearly, and rule 4, you have to be very careful to apply this rule 4 rule. Okay, and I call this rule as a rule for the last symbol. Okay, rule for last symbol. And if I write here as derive A, B, C, and okay, and if I ask you to compute this, what is the rule for the last symbol is, if I ask you to compute follow of C, okay, if I say this statement, compute follow of C. Now if I say compute follow of C, then what is the problem here in computing follow of C? That after capital C there is no symbol. So let's understand the last rule here, and the last rule is rule 4. Okay, so let's understand the rule number 4. And rule 4 is for I call it basically as a rule for the last symbol. Okay, so this is nothing but rule for the last symbol. Okay, the last symbol rule is among this all the rules. Last symbol rule is the one of the difficult rule, and try to understand where we can apply this and why it is so. So on S derive A, B, C. So we have already seen follow of A will be first of B. First of B is epsilon, then I'll go to first of C. So that way. So now last symbol rule says that how to compute here the value that is follow of capital C. Okay, now if you want to compute follow of capital C, then what will come? What will the answer? Because what is the position here that after C nothing is present. Okay, so no symbol is present. Okay, no symbol is present after C. Okay, and that's why we call it as a last symbol rule. Okay, last symbol rule. So C is the last symbol. Okay, so what is the idea here? Okay, idea here in this case, for every time if you want to compute follow of C, what you have to write is here as follow of S. Okay, so follow of C will follow the same symbol that S will follow, and proof is very simple. Suppose here I'll say I'll take you a different example and I'll explain you why it is so. So suppose S derives capital A small a. Okay, so S derive capital A small a, and suppose A derive suppose B and C. Okay, and let me complete here. B derive suppose A, and B derive B, and capital C derive small c. Now, so my question here is in this case is what is follow of capital C? Okay, follow of capital C. So what does the rule say? Follow of capital C. So follow of capital C is what will be the follow of capital C will be follow of capital A. Okay, so that is the rule. Why it is so? Okay, now look at this this tree. So now here S derive capital A followed by small a. True, fine. Now you are going to expand A to what to derive B and C. Okay, and now see here in this case A is followed by, here if I say what is follow of capital A, then immediately you will say the terminal symbol A. Now if I expand this A to B and C, and you see what is coming after this C, then you will say that C is also followed by A. And why it is clear to you, because I'm just drawing the diagram and showing it to you that C is also following. But after C, what will come? After A, what will come? Small a, fine. But if I expand A to B and C and I say what will come after C, then immediately here the answer is here in this case is what? A will come. Okay, so after C, what will come here in this case is A. And that is the reason that we say that follow of C will be follow of capital A. Last symbol rule is applied over here. Fine. Now, where more different cases are there where you can apply this rule. So last symbol is follow of C is what? Follow of capital A. So remember this thing. Where we can apply this rule again when this situation will happen, and let me write another grammar over here. S derive, let's say A, B and C, and I say A derive small a or epsilon, B derive B or epsilon, and C will derive suppose C and epsilon. And now I am computing here as follow of B. Okay, I am computing this value. What is follow of capital B? Now follow of capital B will be equal to what? First of C. Okay, so now this we have seen first of capital C. Now if it is the case, then first of capital C is equal to what? Is equal to small c. So I'll put this symbol over here, but the problem here in this case is C can also be reduced to epsilon. C can derive epsilon, and if C derive epsilon, then this production will become S derive A and B, means I replace this C, this position by epsilon. So now what happens here, C I included over here, but that's not all, because C is deriving epsilon, and B becomes the last symbol. B becomes the last symbol. Okay, not directly, but because of derivation. And if B becomes the last symbol, then follow of B is follow of C. We don't include epsilon, but we also write here that follow of B will be also equal to follow of what? S. And S is the start symbol, then I will also write here dollar. Okay, so now this is the entire rule number 4, that if I am computing the rule for the last symbol, okay, here like this case is applicable. This case is also applicable when a symbol directly or indirectly because of substitution becomes the last symbol. Here when I compute follow of A, you can observe this situation will again come when I compute follow of capital A, then B, first of B, so that is B. If I put epsilon, then I'll go to C, small c. Now B and C both can be reduced to epsilon, then it will become S derive A become the last symbol, then I'll also include follow of S, which is your dollar. So that has to be applied over here. Okay, so that is the idea of this last rule. And remember the key term over here, that this rule is called as rule for the last symbol. Okay, so that's all for this in terms of rule of follow set. Thank you.